what I wanted to write.
Talking about that is what I'm talking about.
Darling, wake up.
You see, she's missing.
My next story. I know everyone loves it. I got a cancer of the brain and I couldn't write at all, so I died.
Read all about it. I've got all.
Hold it!
Stop! Stop!
Don't shoot!
I'd...
The story begins with Mary Shelley reflecting on the tale that made her famous. The world knows her creation, Frankenstein, but Mary believes the story was never truly finished. Before she can complete it, she dies from a brain tumor, leaving her final chapter unfinished. Beyond death, Mary exists in a strange and uncertain place, unable to move on. As time passes, the unfinished story continues haunting her. After what feels like centuries, she finally discovers a way to continue her creation through a woman named Ida, whom she calls the Bride. Ida works as an escort for a powerful crime boss named Lupino. One night, she sits drunk in a restaurant with two men named James and Clyde. They pressure her to eat oysters, but she refuses again and again. Eventually, she gives in. Moments later, Ida becomes sick and throws up. That is when Mary takes control of her body. At first, Ida struggles to speak, but her words soon become clear and powerful. Through her, Mary exposes Lupino's dark secrets, revealing that he murders women and keeps their tongues as trophies. The situation quickly becomes dangerous. James and Clyde drag Ida away, trying to silence her, but she continues speaking, refusing to stop. During the struggle, Ida is pushed down the stairs and... Meanwhile, in Chicago, Frankenstein arrives searching for Dr. Euphronius, a specialist in bringing the dead back to life. A doctor meets him and asks him to remove his hat and scarf. She questions his claim that he is more than 100 years old, but Frankenstein avoids explaining his past. Instead, he asks about the doctor he has been trying to contact. Soon, he realizes that the woman standing before him is actually Dr. Euphronius herself. She explains that she usually only uses her initial when dealing with clients. Frankenstein tells her that he has studied her research and is fascinated by her experiments with reanimation. After examining him, the doctor suggests that he stay at her institute for further testing. However, Frankenstein makes it clear that he is not seeking medical treatment. He wants something else, a chance to experience human connection and live a normal married life. He tells her that he wants a bride. Dr. Euphronius responds sarcastically, saying she does not have a catalog of available brides. Instead, Frankenstein asks her to bring a dead woman back to life. The doctor immediately refuses. At that moment, her assistant Greta enters the room. When she sees Frankenstein, she becomes frightened and quickly leaves. Frankenstein explains that he has lived with loneliness and suffering for far too long. Seeing his pain, Dr. Euphronius agrees to let him stay while she thinks of a solution. Later, Frankenstein watches a romantic movie starring his favorite actor, Ronnie Reed. He becomes completely absorbed in it, repeating the dialogue and singing along until someone finally tells him to be quiet. The doctor later brings up his request again, explaining that creating a bride would be dangerous and impossible. Frankenstein becomes angry, but he quickly calms himself and apologizes. He tells her he has spent too many years alone and only wants companionship. Eventually, the doctor agrees. That night, Frankenstein and Dr. Euphronius dig up Ida's body and bring her back to the laboratory. As the experiment begins, the doctor explains that they will need enormous amounts of energy to make the resurrection work. When Frankenstein sees Ida's body, he is amazed by her beauty. He even says she is too perfect to be his bride and suggests they stop. But the doctor reminds him that they cannot keep a dead body for long. So they continue. After a long process, Ida returns to life. However, she wakes up confused. She cannot remember her name or her past. The doctor tells Frankenstein that this woman is now his bride. But Ida rejects the idea. She says she is his companion, not his bride, and insists that she wants to return home, even though she does not remember where home is. When she tries to stand, her body fails her, and she collapses. Frankenstein offers help, but she pulls away and demands to know what happened. He tells her it was caused by an accident. Because it is late, Doctor. Euphronius tells Ida she can stay and rest at the institute. Frankenstein happily suggests sharing his bed, but the doctor orders him to leave so she can examine Ida's injuries. Outside, Frankenstein is excited, believing he has finally found the person he has been searching for. Inside, the doctor explains to Ida that she was originally meant to be Frankenstein's bride before the accident, but Ida says she does not remember him. The doctor assures her that Frankenstein is not completely evil. That night, as Ida sleeps, Mary appears in her dreams and calls her a monster. Ida asks Mary what her real name is, but the dream suddenly ends. Later, Ida wakes up and finds Frankenstein sleeping nearby. When she approaches him, he suddenly reacts and attacks out of instinct before realizing what he has done. He immediately apologizes. Ida asks how he entered the room since the door was locked. Frankenstein calmly explains that he came through the window. The next morning, Dr. Euphronius notices a strange mark near Ida's mouth caused by the fluids used during the resurrection experiment. She tells Ida that she needs to perform more tests, but Ida refuses. She says she does not want to stay locked inside the laboratory and wants to see the outside world. The doctor insists that it is safer for her to remain there, but later Ida and Frankenstein leave without telling her. Frankenstein takes Ida to watch a movie, one of his favorite films, and later brings her to a nightclub. As they spend more time together, Frankenstein becomes even more attached to her. He begins imagining them as a couple, almost like the romance stories he watches on screen. At the nightclub, Ida interacts with the performers and enjoys the atmosphere. However, several men begin bothering her. Frankenstein notices and steps in, taking Ida away from the situation. But the men follow them outside. The confrontation quickly becomes violent, and Frankenstein ends up killing them. Realizing they are now in serious danger, he tells Ida that he should leave alone and that she should hide. But Ida refuses. She tells him she has nowhere else to go, so she stays with him. The two escape together and board a train heading toward New York. During the journey, a guard confronts them. A struggle breaks out, and Ida pushes the guard from the train, causing him to fall to his death. Meanwhile, the nightclub incident catches the attention of Detective Jake Wilds and his assistant Ma Milloy. While investigating, they discover the guard's death and realize it may be connected to the same people they are searching for. They begin following the trail toward New York. During the investigation, Ma finds a newspaper clipping about Ronnie Reed, Frankenstein's favorite actor. Believing there may be a connection, they head toward a nearby theater. At the same time, Frankenstein and Ida try to stay hidden. Ida discovers a newspaper article calling her the Bride of Frankenstein. This makes her wonder about her real identity. Frankenstein tells her that her name was Penelope Rogers and begins calling her Penny. As they grow closer, Ida tries to become intimate with him, hoping it will unlock her forgotten memories. But Frankenstein pulls away. Later, they go to a theater to watch another Ronnie Reed movie. Inside, things become tense when Ida sees a man bothering a woman and attacks him. The man recognizes them as the criminals everyone is searching for. Panic spreads through the theater. At that exact moment, Detective Jake Wilds and Ma Malloy arrive. The crowd begins chasing Frankenstein and Ida, calling them monsters. The two manage to escape and hide inside a nearby wealthy party. Inside the party, Frankenstein unexpectedly meets his idol, Ronnie Reed. He excitedly tells him how much he admires him. He explains that he kept a ticket from Ronnie's first performance and that watching his movies helped him feel less alone. But Ronnie reacts coldly. Instead of appreciating Frankenstein's admiration, he mocks him and treats him with disrespect. Frankenstein is deeply disappointed. Soon, music begins playing. Frankenstein and Ida start dancing together, and their energy spreads through the entire party. Before long, everyone is dancing as if caught in the same strange rhythm. But the celebration does not last. Jake, Ma, and several police officers surround the party. As Jake looks closer, he recognizes Ida. Ida points a gun at Ronnie Reed, forcing everyone to freeze. The situation becomes chaotic, and she shoots one of the police officers. Using the confusion, Frankenstein and Ida escape through the crowd. Outside, Frankenstein looks at Ida with admiration. He is impressed by her courage and actions. Then he kisses her. Later, the two continue traveling together, growing closer as they share moments of happiness. Meanwhile, the police continue searching for them. Ida's speech about violence against women begins spreading throughout the city. Her actions become a symbol of rebellion. Women everywhere begin copying her appearance, drawing marks near their mouths and repeating her words. A movement begins to grow. As the news reaches Lupino, he discovers that Ida is still alive. Furious, he confronts James and blames him for failing to kill her. Lupino kills James and threatens Clyde, ordering him to finish the job. While traveling, Frankenstein creates a story about their past to make Ida feel more connected to him. He tells her that he once proposed to her with a ring and that they stayed in a hotel together where they ate oysters and drank champagne. Ida listens carefully and asks where the ring is. Frankenstein admits that he had to pawn it because they needed money for food and other things. Their journey is interrupted when a police officer stops them. Instead of helping, the officer tries to harm Ida. Frankenstein immediately reacts and shoots him. Afterward, Ida becomes overwhelmed by Mary's presence inside her mind. The voice grows stronger, confusing her thoughts and emotions. She loses control and violently attacks the dead officer, biting out his tongue. Meanwhile, Jake and Ma continue following Frankenstein and Ida's trail. Ma notices a pattern in their movements and realizes they may be heading toward a theater showing another Ronnie Reed film. She believes their next destination could be Niagara Falls, so they travel there. As they continue their journey, Ida becomes more confused about her identity. She asks Frankenstein if she was really the same person before the accident. She struggles with the violent memories appearing in her mind and the voice of Mary influencing her actions. Ida wants the voice to disappear. At that moment, James finds them. He calls out to them, claiming he can help Ida and asking them to surrender. He apologizes and admits that he was responsible for what happened to her. However, before anything can be resolved, Ma arrives and shoots Frankenstein. Ida reacts instantly. She shoots Jake in the leg and escapes with Frankenstein. As they drive away, Frankenstein becomes jealous and questions Ida about Jake and their connection. But Ida cannot answer because her memories are still incomplete. Frankenstein asks if she will leave him for Jake. Ida becomes frustrated and tells him that neither of them has many choices. The next morning, Jake admits to Ma that he knew Ida when she was still alive. He explains that they were secretly working together to bring down Lupino. He blames himself for her death, believing that his actions led her to that fate. Unable to continue, Jake steps away from the investigation and retires. Ma takes full control of the case. Soon, a report arrives that Frankenstein and Ida have been spotted at a gas station. Ma immediately heads there. Before leaving, Jake asks her to protect Ida. Ma agrees. While driving, Frankenstein begins struggling to breathe because of his injuries. Ida stops to check on him. He assumes she is taking him to a hospital, but instead, she takes him to a drive-in theater so they can watch his favorite movie. At the drive-in, Frankenstein finally tells Ida the truth. He admits that everything he told her about her past was a lie. He never actually knew who she was before she died. But despite that, he still wants to stay with her. Before they can share another moment, Clyde arrives and opens fire on them. At the same time, Ma reaches the location and sees the chaos unfolding. Frankenstein is shot. Ida does not hesitate and takes him away, trying to save him. She brings him back to Dr. Euphronius, hoping the doctor can revive him. The doctor hesitates. She warns Ida that bringing him back could change everything. She explains that when she resurrected her own husband, he lost his memories, and the same thing could happen to Frankenstein. There is no guarantee that he would remember Ida. Before they can decide, Clyde attacks again. He enters the laboratory and shoots Ida multiple times. Moments later, the police arrive. Ma orders the officers to chase after Clyde, leaving Dr. Euphronius alone with Frankenstein and Ida. Then Mary Shelley appears one final time. Her presence remains in the laboratory, as if her story is moving from Ida to the doctor. Outside, Clyde is finally captured. Ma looks toward the laboratory and notices strange lights flickering inside. Something is happening. Inside, Frankenstein and Ida slowly begin moving again. Their hands reach toward each other. In the end, Lupino is arrested, and across the city, women continue rising up, inspired by Ida's courage and the message she left behind.